welcome back to the channel. My name is Nana Kimiko, and welcome back to more of I Read Fanfictions. We're on to the 7th chapter, The Copycat Apparition. I didn't have a picture for this one because this character is one of my OC characters I made for the story. I didn't make very many of them for this story, but this one is of significant importance. So please pay attention as I read this, because you'll understand something pretty interesting from this chapter. So let's go ahead and enjoy this. Yeah, see, right, the next chapter I had to rewatch it, and I had to get another chapter. I had to get another story finished as I was working on it. The shrine gate doors opened in front of them as they walked through. The area they entered looked like it could touch the night sky. The ground was covered in water and ran over the edge of the wide pathway like a waterfall. Far ahead of them was a beautiful woman with long beige hair worn tied up with a red and white ribbon that had small bells on it, reminiscent of fox ears. Her eyes are bright green. She wore a patterned kimono with a white outer gown and white gloves. Konnichiwa. Welcome, number 7. The woman spoke softly and sweetly, though the intent was way different as she held the large scissors in her hands. Ko gripped his staff tightly. Enough of the formalities, you faker. She ignored them as she addressed the body of dismembered parts. Thank you for finding my body. It looks lovely, doesn't it? She touched it, smiling as it started moving, everyone having a freaked expression as it stood up and began to move. Eek! Kill it! Kill it! Yashida screamed, gripping on to Yugi and Yami, who both looked uneasy at the ugly human shape. Both Ko and Hanako stood in front of them. Mate! Yugi cried out as his eyes had cleared through the dense disguise that the copycat had put on. When the supernatural saw Yugi, she growled, gripping the scissors tightly in one hand. You're the one that needs to die. She flung her scissors in his direction, making both Ko and Yami jump in front of the students. Get back! Yami yelled, even though he was in no condition to do anything. After stealing the gloves that Yugi wore earlier and put them on himself, he stood next to Hanako as they both held back the scissors. That's enough! Something jumped from behind the group that was white and furry to hit the scissors, making it drop to the ground as the ball of fur landed. Yako Nia-san! Ko and Yashiro called out in surprise. Yugi and Yami looked confused. Relief flooded the two students who were familiar with the second wonder. The question stayed in Yugi and Yami's mind. The true owner of the Misaki stairs belonged to a fox spirit? A fox? The two spoke at the same time, confused. Hanako smirked, gesturing to the white bundle of fur. She was white all over, with pink and orange spirit marks on her legs and face, with two ghostly orbs that were peach, yellow, and green in color. Yugi, Yami, say hello to the real number 2 supernatural. The fox's tail twitched, looking at them. Her fur stood up on end, glaring at the fake number 2, who clicked her tongue in annoyance. Didn't expect the owner would still be snooping around. Her eyes went back to glaring at Yugi, who was still taking in what he was seeing. He could see a mirror image of Alistair Suchi in front of him. But instead of a short ponytail, this female ghost had long hair cascading down her back, her bangs still covering her eyes, which were the same as his yellow eye and red-brown eye. Instead of a goofy grin that was always present on Alistair's face, she had a scowl and anger all over her face. On the ground where the scissors lay was the scythe with a 60-inch blade coming out the oddly short handle. You! How dare you see me? The copycat spoke, her eyebrow twitched in anger. Yako touched number 7's weapon that he held. Permission to use Hakujodai granted. A light formed around Hanako as his ghostly orbs appeared at his side. Yashiro and Ko remembered from before that only the owner of the boundary can give other supernaturals permission to use any of their powers within their realm. Hanako smiled widely like a child who was about to win in a game. Destroy the illusion, Hakujodai. His orb zipped around across the room to attack the copycat. She picked her weapon off the ground and started slashing and swiping at the two ghostly orbs. No! Damn you, number 7! She cried out as the orbs knocked her weapon away and smashed her illusion like it was a mirror. No! She screamed as the illusion shattered, leaving her true appearance that Yuki could see already. Her red hair covered her face as her eyes gleamed, glaring at the three students and three ghostly beings. Nani? She looks just like Suchi-san. Yashiro, Ko, and Yami looked at Yugi, who was conflicted. Why is there a ghost resembling his new friend? Who are you? She floated just above the ground, holding her scythe in her hand. Yugi flinched when she rushed at him. A gust of air hard pushed everyone back into the shrine gate. Ah! They landed hard, almost on top of each other. Yako ended up on top of Yami, who was half flying in Ko's lap, while Hanako was on his stomach, with Yashiro laying with her back on top of him. Mina-san! Yugi cried, looking behind him as he looked at the ghost in front of him. You're a problem child. Your existence could start a war. A lot of supernaturals don't want to remember who they once were. She held the scythe to Yugi's neck, his eyes fearful, but he refused to back down. You don't need my help to remember. You have a living, breathing reminder of who you once were, Suchi-san. Her eyes glint with humor. So, you met my twin. That's why you know my real last name. But don't fool yourself. My name is Sukiyaki the Copycat, and I plan on being a wonder in this school, with or without the assistance of the leader. She died on the others, who had just gotten to their feet. Just before she hit near them, Yugi grabbed her side, pulling her back. Yashiro-san, Ko, run! Hanako cried, leaping to meet the copycat apparition, who slashed at him, finally shaking Yugi off. Yashiro and Ko run to Yugi, each of them grabbing his arm. Hanako-kun, we're going down! Yashiro looked back at the ghost, fighting. Yami slammed his gloved hands into the scythe, which caused a burst of flames to erupt. Hanako waved his hands at them. Go! Destroy the Yorishiro! With those words, Yako runs and jumps onto Yugi's shoulders as he looked at his friend and cousin in confusion. The two of them together lift Yugi by his armpits and run and jump off the edge of the path. Here we go! Ko cried out as Yugi screamed at the top of his lungs. Are you crazy? Before Yami could even react, the female version nearly sliced his head as Hanako pulled him down. They'll be fine. Focus on the crazy lady with the scythe. Yami huffed, fisting his hands, looking at the ghost next to him. Should I be concerned with you holding a knife? Hanako snickers, glancing at the ancient spirit. Should I be worried about you using exorcism gloves? Yami shrugged his shoulders, smirking as well. Whatever, let's deal with her. The two dodged out of the way as she aimed the scythe at their feet. Deep in the boundary, Yugi woke to the sound of Yashiro and Ko talking. So this is where the Yorishiro is. Do you think it will be in the same place as before? Ko spoke as Yugi sat up and slowly climbed to his feet. Ah, we're alive. You two almost got me killed! Yugi blurted out as the two looked at him after exchanging a glance. Gomen-nasai, Muto-kun. We didn't mean to frighten you with this. Yugi strokes the back of his head, his emotions settling as he looked at the two students. You guys are familiar with all this, aren't you? The two nodded, smiling. They both stand awkwardly as they are used to having a shared experience outside the two of them. Yugi sighs, his emotion subsided as he looked around them. They were at the base of what looked like shrine stairs, or a large school ground staircase. Whoa, it's beautiful here. There was an actual sky above them. Even the sun was shining as if they were back in the real world, if it wasn't for the fact that the ground was littered in puddles. Just as I remember it. Yako spoke up, freaking Yugi out, realizing the fox spirit took a ride on his shoulder. Ah, you scared me! He held his chest, leaning over as the fox stood on his shoulder. Get walking! The only way to break her power is to destroy the fake Yorishiro she has placed at the top of the stairs. She pointed with her paw up the stairs. The three of them slowly ascend the stairs, climbing up the long staircase. Suddenly the ground shook as Sukiyaki appeared behind, holding her scythe. You're not going anywhere. Someone yanked her from behind. We'll see about that. Yugi saw spiked hair and fierce amethyst eyes. Yami! The two of them landed at the bottom of the stairs, where an injured Hanako stood, his uniform ripped in several places, revealing a white shirt underneath. Keep going! Hanako leaped at the female ghost who evaded his attack. Yashiro and Ko noticed he was using Hakujo Dai, his cape visible as he slashed the scythe-wielding ghost. Yugi runs ahead of the others. Come on, let's hurry and get out of this place. The two finally looked back at him as they ran up the stairs after him. As they reached the top, there was a prayer house. Yashiro approached it and opened the door. It was a black seal and a pair of scissors. Wait, that's not what it seems. Yugi took Yashiro's place in front of the prayer house. The seal wasn't on a pair of scissors, but an emerald necklace. Yugi slowly pulled the Yorishiro seal off as the world broke apart and the memory was revealed to him. Happy birthday, Alicia. Happy birthday, Alistair. Here are your presents. The mother smiled widely at the two 12-year-olds. Inside Alicia's gift box was an emerald necklace. Oh, it's so beautiful, Mommy. Now take good care of it, Alicia. It belonged to your grandmother. She gave it to me when I was your age, and now I'm giving it to you. The little girl had it put on as she smiled happily at her mother and hugged her tight. I love you, Mama. The mother, who was a redhead, just like her children, smiled warmly. I'll love you forever. Never forget that, both of you. She held the two of them close as Alistair held a matching bracelet to the necklace that his sister wore. Since you both were twins, I had that made similar to this necklace. That way you both would always be connected. Alistair looked at his sister and smiled. We'll always be together, Sissy. Mm-hmm. The two grasped each other's hands tightly, smiling as the memory faded away. Ko, Yashiro, Hanako, and Yako appeared outside the stairs. Yugi and Yami laid on the floor, Yami's body more spiritual and see-through once again. Both were out cold. Better take them to the nurse's office so they can rest. As Hanako went to assist in picking up Yami, the puzzle around Yugi's necklace flashed a light. As it faded, Yami's spirit was nowhere to be found. The puzzle must have called back his spirit since he was so injured. Ko reasoned as he reached down and lifted Yugi off the ground. Hanako assisted in carrying the boy down the stairs to the nurse's office, where they laid him in bed. So neither of you saw the memory the Yorishiro gave? Hanako addressed the two beside him. Ko never experienced the Yorishiro and its connected memory. Yashiro had experienced them in the past before. Yugi told us not to touch it. He must have saw the true form of the Yorishiro. We only saw Yakune-san's Yorishiro. Ko rebuttals, crossing his arms. He held his and Yugi's bag in his hands, while holding the staff covered in an umbrella chute. Hanako cups his face in his hands, resting them on his knees on the bed. So who's this Alistair Tsuchi that young Muto mentioned? Ko huffed, thinking, while Yashiro tapped his chin. Mutoko mentioned they were on the plane together, that they sat right next to each other. Yashiro states first as Ko finished it. I saw him at the airport. They were walking together. Then I heard from Akane-senpai that he cheered for Yugi being in their class together with Senpai. He looked to the cream-haired girl who nodded. Hanako rubbed the back of his neck. So he's a student here. Yet why is young Muto a target? Who could have possibly known about his curse? The two shook their heads, confused and unsure. At that moment, Yugi's face scrunched up as he opened his eyes. Where are we? He sat up in a hurry, looking at the three. Ko put his hand on his cousin's shoulder. Yugi, you alright? Judging by Ko's calm voice, meant everything was over and they were back in reality. The Yorishiro was an emerald necklace. The three blinked at his words. The memory, it was of Alicia and Alistair as kids. 12 birthday presents. He had a matching bracelet. Hanako crossed his arms as he stood on the bed. That means your hunch was right, young Muto. This person is twins with Alistair Tsuchi. We must hear from him about what happened to his sister and how she died, or even how she ended up here. The three nodded, Hanako patting Yugi's head. But for now, you three get home. Yami already beat you to it. He pointed to his puzzle, which Yugi noticed before the lack of his partner's presence. We'll get on home then, Hanako. Ko spoke at as his cousin got out of bed. The least Hanako could do was walk them to the slightly open steel gate. Have a safe trip home. He had hugged and floated behind Yashiro the whole walk there, the cream-haired girl not minding, as the soft blush was on her face and a small smile in between. He waved at them as the three walked down the street. The three kids wandered around the street, eventually getting to Yashiro's house. The whole walk, Yugi was distracted with his phone nervously. Since Cole had told him about his existence vanishing, he hoped this would be normal tomorrow, and he'd hear from his best friends again. Muto-kun, don't worry. By tomorrow they'll have your existence back in their heads, and I'm sure by tomorrow Yami will be alright after everything. Ko nodded in agreement with his senpai. The two had been worried about Yugi the whole time since he went missing earlier that evening. Yugi closed his phone, sighing. They were right, he couldn't worry the whole time. I won't worry then. If that's the case, Ko, do you have to let Teru Itoko know? He shook his blonde head, a half-smile framing his face. Teru knows about our little adventures. Yugi was surprised. He figured since Teru was the eldest, he'd be more against his sibling hanging around the things that he got rid of for a living along with their father. Ko must have read it on Yugi's face. Let's just say that Teru had to start trusting me. Ko looked like he didn't want to discuss it in front of Yashiro. Whatever Teru did must have been bad that he had to keep it from his best friend and senpai. Yugi played it off, smiling slightly and nodding. Okay. As they got closer to Yashiro's house, she hugged both Yugi and Ko. Oyasumi, Muto-kun, Ko-kun. She waved bye to the two as she ran inside her house, the lights still on the front of the house. The two boys had slightly blushes on their faces as they chuckled, walking towards their home. So Yugi, what did you think of your first day? Yugi ruffled his hair, rubbing his head, chuckling more. Ko grinned wildly, his 1,000-volt smile illuminating on his face. Yugi dropped his hand, his grip on his back tightening. It was interesting. Very amazing. Can't wait to see what's in store for us. Ko pushed his cousin with his shoulder, grinning as the two laughed. They eventually get to the house, Ko unlocking the front door to let the two in. They dropped their shoes at the front door entryway. Tadama! Teru, Tiara, Ko called out as Teru peeked around the corner. Okaeri, Ko, Yugi, how was your first day, Toko? He said those words as a short blonde body ran into the two boys, knocking them over. Okaeri! She giggled, smiling at her cousin and second older brother. Yugi chuckled, his face blushing. Hi, Tiara. The two boys stood up as the girl hugged them both. Oh, Itoko, your computer's been calling. Yugi blinked in surprise as he rushed to the bedroom, Ko behind him as the two saw the monitor, a Skype call trying to go through as he walked to the computer and clicked it on. Hello? Ah! He yelped in surprise as all four of his friends were there. There he is! Yugi, what the hell happened over there? Tristan was the first to speak up. The male was in a loose black top and his hair was a mess. Out of all of them, they all looked like they had been crying. Ko looked into the monitor. Mina, you okay? You look like you've been crying. Joey practically wanted to punch his computer. The male was emotionally frustrated and upset. Of course I'm upset. I had to see this message I sent to Yugi saying I don't know who you are. The male's anger simmered as he covered his eyes, trying not to cry on video call. Taya, on the other hand, was openly crying. Her sniffles could be heard through her microphone. Cole felt awful. Yugi's best friends were upset and had been worried about him greatly. Itoko, I'm gonna make dinner. You stay here and chat with your friends, and I'll bring you your share, okay? Yugi looked at his cousin. Sorry framed his face, but it was a split. You're sure, Ko? The blonde nodded. He glanced at Yugi's friends, who were still visibly hurt and guilt-ridden. Tell them how your first day went. The blonde gave an encouraging smile as he left the room to go make dinner. Yugi turned his attention back to his best friends. Guys, I didn't mean to make you worry. So much happened today. Yugi spent a good hour talking about his first day, freaking out over the immense popularity being thrust upon him to his cousins, making his first female friend and seeing Alistair again at school, learning about his cursed vision and even meeting a ghost. Are you serious? What does this ghost look like? Taya was clicking away on her computer, looking up something. Well, I can't tell what he truly looked like. He had short black hair and amber eyes, according to Ko and Yami, who wore a black school uniform, and the ghost said he was 50 years old. Man, 50 years old. That's mean. Yugi nodded to Bakura, who stumbled on what to say next. Taya, who had been listening to the whole conversation, paled as she spoke. Guys, I just found an article on the internet about Kamome Academy. Your ghost was a real person, alright? She screen shared her monitor, and on it was an old news article. The front page was plastered with words. Local Kamome student jumps from roof. They read. A horrific event unfolded at Kamome Academy. Local student was found dead on school grounds the following morning. Reports and autopsy show that the boy jumped from the roof. His school bag was later recovered and his identity revealed. 15-year-old Yugi Amane. It was later found out that very week that there was a brutal murder at the Yugi household. Another student and twin brother, Yugi Tsukasa, was found dead in the house. Parents were said to have been swamped at work the night before. It's unsure if Yugi Amane killed his brother or if it was an accident. So much speculation surrounds the event and baffles everyone as to what caused these two boys to have died. School teacher of Yugi Mane suspects the older twin to have been a victim of abuse, by whom nobody was certain. For now, it will remain a mystery. Taya scrolled the page, and Yugi fell out of his chair, screaming in shock. Yugi, are you okay? What's wrong? His friends made such a ruckus that Ko ran into the room wearing an apron. Itoko, what's wrong? What happened? Yugi's eyes couldn't look away from the picture on the screen. There on the computer was a picture from the 60s of two boys wearing identical black uniforms, with hats holding hands. Both had black hair and golden amber eyes. Ko saw what he was looking at with his friends, and he closed the call, telling them that it was late and Yugi couldn't come back to the computer. Yugi, who now had tears on his face, staring at his hands. Ko, Amane, it's Hanako, isn't it? Ko held the older boy tightly, rubbing his back. It's true, Hanako, before he died, he did kill his younger twin brother and then committed suicide. Ko's eyes were filled with a deep sadness over his ghost friend. Yugi held on to Ko and sobbed. Okay, guys, I hope you liked this slightly lengthier chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.